probably. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to the Team Danbury Travel Recording for Education First. I have a couple of students here with me who did travel with us on the 2024 summit. We went to Hungary, Budapest, Hungary, Vienna, Austria, Karlovy region in Czech Republic, and then we ended in Berlin Summit studying the impact of water on society. So we have a lot of students here who are excited to talk about their experiences. And to go over, their growth and their learning, what their favorite parts of tour were, and how everything was connected for them in the end. I'm sure we're all missing our Europe trip right now, right, guys? Head nods, thumbs up, yeah, good. It's always good to see and be surrounded by friends all the time, and especially being around having that independence and that growth. So. All right, so we're going to start off with a couple of questions, and we're going to go with Jake. And Jake Milligan actually happened to be one of our finalists in the summit, along with Izzy, who will be also later on the call as well. So, Jake, why don't you tell me, what did you like most about your trip? Talk about some of your favorite highlights, and what are you going to miss, or what are some things that you miss now?
Some things I loved about the trip is that all the freedom that we had, going out with our friends, going to explore the city and trying different things, trying different stuff from the culture, and just having fun out just with our friends and having a lot of freedom. And then some things I'm gonna miss from the trip is just overall being in Europe and just all the experiences that we had with just traveling in Europe. And yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's so awesome. Kaden, why don't you tell us what were some of your favorite parts of the trip, and what are some things that you missed right now?
Some of my favorite parts was just getting to explore and hang out with my friends in different countries. And I'm gonna miss, like what Jake said, like the freedom and being able to hang out with my friends, like without like caring about anything.
Yeah, that's good. Excellent. So a lot of what I'm hearing from Jake and Kaden here is a lot of independence in that free time. Is that what I'm hearing, boys? Is that what you really liked? Good. Okay, excellent. Izzy and Kesha, why don't you kind of take it away and talk about what were some of your favorite parts of the trip?
Okay, so my favorite part of the trip was when we went to the Budapest baths. I think that was really fun, and I feel like it's a time where like everybody really like became friends, and we all had like a bunch of fun, and we got to swim together and learn new things about each other.
Yeah, my favorite part was also the Budapest baths, because I've never been to a bathhouse like that, and I think it was a lot of fun being with friends. Yeah.
Good. Excellent. Thank you so much. Okay, Xavier, your turn.
So I was going to talk about the baths a little bit, but my other favorite part was the amusement park. The amusement park was great. I loved seeing how amusement parks were different all over the world, and I kind of like that style a bit better. And I'm definitely going to miss the feeling of like it's always going to be my first and last time of doing something, so I want to squeeze it all in, of like all the great experiences and all the emotions that I felt. It was a great trip.
Oh, excellent. I'm sure the rest of you, did you enjoy that amusement park as well? Yeah, and then the Budapest bathhouses was definitely a highlight of mine as well. How many of you were all pretty shocked about how warm it was when we went in there? And nods are good, or thumbs up, guys. Okay, yeah, and it was really refreshing learning about the water parts in there as well. So thank you, Xavier. Jack, what was some of your highlights and your favorite part of the trip that you're going to miss?
Like Caden and Jake said, like the independence and like being surrounded by my friends, that was probably my favorite part. And then I'm gonna miss meeting all the new people at Summit because that was a lot of fun.
Can you go more deep into that? Like, who were some people that you met at Summit? We're just going to jump a little bit ahead.
Like my group mates, like in my group, I had a really good group. Everyone was supportive and shared their ideas. So that was good.
Were they from America?
The one kid was from Greece.
Very cool. Excellent. That's neat. Okay, Sal, what was your favorite part of the trip and some things that you miss about traveling in Europe right now? Oh, Sal, it's okay. We can't hear you right now, so why don't you try and reset yourself? So leave and come back, okay? and then we'll come back to you.
Here, is it fine that I talk on here?
That's perfect right there. Go ahead.
Okay. So my favorite part about the trip was probably like hanging out with my friends a ton, and the amusement park was super fun, and the baths was super fun too. And you know, it was a really great trip. We had a lot of independence and freedom, especially free time being out to like go walk and get lunch with your friends was just super fun.
That's so awesome. I'm hearing a lot of the same trend with you guys about that growing independence and really traveling alone. We really push that for you when we are traveling and for you to really rely on your friends and to learn about culture and food and money. So I knew a lot of you had a lot of differences when it came to money, when it came to Hungarian forint or Czech Republic korunas, and then even euros instead. So number two is kind of a little bit of the same. So what are some things that you did that you're most proud of? So I really want you to kind of like talk to me about jumping out of that comfort zone, some things that you did in Europe that you probably wouldn't have done in America. Kind of a little bit of a hard question, but yeah, let's kind of hear what you guys have to say about that. Why don't we bring it back to Jake?
Some things that I'm proud of is definitely getting high in the summit and definitely having a lot of like just having my group come very high in the summit and stuff like that. And something other that I'm proud of is just that like I was able to walk around with my friends and not get lost anywhere and be able to try different things and not being afraid to do anything while we were in Europe.
Was that a little bit of a fear for you, was getting lost or not making back on time?
Yeah, sometimes, yeah, in case we went too far and there wasn't like we weren't on time or like we couldn't find our way back.
Yeah. Did you like being on a tight schedule all the time?
Yes and no, sometimes.
Yeah, it just made the trip quicker, right? So you got 2 hours here, you got 2.5 hours here, you got 3 hours here, you got 3 hours of full free time. So yeah, it's nice to kind of be on a schedule, and it also holds you guys accountable about being back, right? Good. Okay, and then we'll talk about your summer experience in a little bit in the later questions. So, so Kaden, what are some things that you did that you're kind of most proud of jumping out of your comfort zone?
Something I did that I'm most proud of was talk to and meet a lot of new people at Summit. You know, and I also got a couple girl snaps there.
Which is pretty exciting too, as friends, that to be able to do that. And so, Kaden, why don't you kind of talk about where are some of the places that you met these people? Like, where are they from?
They're mainly just like from across America. A lot of people from Colorado.
And some other states?
A lot of people from like Colorado or like Chicago, like Illinois.
Yeah. Okay. And Missouri?
Yeah, forgot about that one.
Yeah. Okay.
That was just one person though.
Okay. Well, still someone else from a different town or state.
Yeah, I got the snap
from. Okay. Good. Thank you so much for sharing that. Is that something that you like? You're going to be able to keep these connections with these people?
Oh yeah.
Good. Great. Okay. Izzy and Kesha, what about you? Some things you did to make you jump out of your comfort zone?
I think during the summit, when we were like with our group, I feel like I collaborated way more than I would here in America because I don't really like meeting new people. But at the summit, I think it was like more fun and exciting and surprising, and we got to learn about new people.
Were you the youngest person in your group, Izzy?
Yeah, I was.
Okay. Good. And did you feel like you still had a voice?
Yeah, I did. Because like my team made sure everyone was like participating and still like being able to be part of the group actually and talking.
Good. Okay, Kesha, what about you?
I think I'm very proud of myself for speaking up and participating in my group during the summit. I think I contributed to our idea, and we were able to make a good presentation at the end, even though we didn't make top 10. So I'm very proud of that.
Good. Okay. Go ahead, Xavier.
Something I'm most proud of wasn't that summit, but it was during our free time when I've had free time before in other scenarios, but it was always sort of planned out and we had a general idea, but I was very happy with myself for like branching out and not having a plan and just kind of like going with the flow, doing whatever came my way or whatever came our way. And I was traveling with a big group of friends, and that's what made it great because we always had new ideas that we agreed on, and we would just kind of walk around from place to place and have a great time wherever we went. We went to a children's playground, had a great time. We jumped on some trampolines for like 30 minutes and had a great time. Tried to go to a zoo, but they wouldn't let us in. But overall, the ups and the downs, it was just a great experience.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Xavier. I love that. One of my favorite parts is watching you guys go on your free time and go on your own, and having you come back to check in with your chaperones and tell us all about that experience. So, okay, Jack, what about you?
I was proud of how I like spoke out in my group. Like on the first day, I was like nervous, like about talking to my group, and then on the second day, I like spoke out more and made some ideas.
I love that. Thank you so much. And you have such bright ideas, Jack. So that's really cool that you shared that.
Appreciate it.
Okay, Sal.
Some things that I was super proud of was like, it was just like being able to work with a group of people that I've never really met before and like really getting a good idea. And even though I didn't make top 10, I felt like our project was like really good, and I'm really proud of it, and I'm proud of the people I was working with, and I'm proud of myself for being able to give some ideas.
Good. Wow. Excellent answers you guys have here. Okay, so part 3 is really about EF's mission. EF stands for Education First. And, I told you before, guys, that this is not a vacation. It is an educational tour, right? And we did a lot of those educational parts and on tour as well when we had local guides and people kind of bringing us over. So starting from July 5th, right, before when we left, how did you learn and grow as like a young teen on tour? Like, what are some things that you learned about yourself? Okay, Jake?
I definitely learned a lot of responsibility for first when we would go out on our own. I would have to be responsible for myself and not do anything stupid or be back on time all the time. And keeping my belongings safe and not get anything like stolen while we were on the street or anything like that. And for my group, I had to learn a lot of responsibility for putting in the work for a lot of the stuff so we would have a good project.
Good. Excellent. Okay, Kaden, what about you? How did you feel like you learned and grew about yourself on tour?
So something I learned was kind of like how to be an adult, because when we went out to lunch, we had like to be back at a certain time. We had to use our own money. Like we had to like know all the stuff and figure everything out on our own. We didn't have someone watching over us telling us what to do.
Then did you feel like more independent and grew from that experience?
Yeah.
Not without myself or a chaperone or a teacher or even a parent, right?
Yeah, I learned a lot on that trip about how to be.
Yeah, I think also learning about money, right? So some of you were either planning for too much money or planning for a short amount of money. Was that an experience that you had, Kaden? Like, or did you always feel prepared with the money that you had?
No, I always felt pretty prepared with the money I had.
Okay, good. All right, Izzy and Kesha?
Okay, so I think I grew as a teen by becoming more independent. Like while we were in Europe, we were without our parents, and I've never even been to another state without my parents, so it was really a big change. And I feel like I was able to actually make my own decisions and spend my own money and talk to people that I don't even think I'd be allowed to talk to. So, yeah.
I think I grew by learning that I had to actively communicate and participate with my group to be able to be successful. And I think that helped me. That's going to help me in future projects with other groups too.
Thank you so much. Xavier?
I definitely grew by learning more about how the world worked, because everyone always gives you this idea of when you go to different countries, people are going to be different. They're going to be they're going to act differently than you. They're not going to treat you like the same. Sometimes they might be very straightforward. It's not what you're used to. But this experience has really taught me that people are just people all around. They are no different than any other people from America or people all around the world are the same. They act the same, and if you give them respect, they will respect you. So that's basically the lesson that I learned.
I love that answer. Thank you. Jack?
I learned how to like come out of my comfort zone and like experience new things, even if just at first look they don't look very fun.
So you took a risk.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Okay, excellent. And Sal?
So as a teen, I would like learn how to travel without my parents, and usually if I've ever traveled without my parents, it's always been like with older people, or like going out shopping. It's always been with older people if it hasn't been with my parents. But now I was with people my same age and like my friends with the same age, and so you really have to rely on yourself, but also like rely on your group too. It was just a really surreal moment, and it was super fun.
Mhm. You also learned a lot about German hospitals, right? Hmm.
We don't need to talk about that.
That's a story for another time, folks. Okay. All right, guys, you guys are doing really good. We have about 2 more questions. So let's talk about Summit, right? And Jake and Izzy, I really want you to focus on what it felt like being in the top 10 and being on that giant stage, okay? Kaden, your experience is also a little bit different because you had a sibling go on tour. And so you kind of heard a little bit about Summit. So Kaden, I really want you to focus on what you've heard versus what was you experienced, okay? All right. So Jake, why don't you kind of take it away and bring it back to Summit for us?
So going into Summit, I thought it was very nerve-wracking because I didn't know any of them, but they were all older than me and I was the youngest one in my group. So it was kind of hard to speak up for everything because they all had very good ideas and more experience in school and all like everything they could say. But I thought in the end I had some very good ideas, and going into Summit, I didn't think we were even gonna have that great of an idea or even be able to go on stage. So when we came up with a good idea, I didn't think we were gonna be able to go on stage, but somehow, some way we got picked for it out of our class or room or whatever it's called. So I thought I was very proud of that, and I made some friends that we'll probably be able to stay in touch with.
Good. Okay. And Kaden, why don't you take it away for you?
So for Summit, my brother pretty much told me what it's going to be like. So beforehand, I really wasn't nervous or anything. And pretty much when I got in there, everything he said was kind of true. You meet all a bunch of new kids. You're with no one you know. And so that's why, like, I wasn't really nervous. And everything for Summit was also a little weird because I was the youngest one there. And I felt like everyone was just so much smarter than me. And
Okay.
yeah,
Well, I really thank you for your honesty in that answer. I mean, it's very interesting. Our younger students have always done better than our older students that we took on tour, especially when 2 of our historical members in 2018 and 2022 were graduating 8th graders who also won Summit. So I find that interesting that you were nervous, Kaden, because you're just like at Summit for the rules don't matter, right? And you can raise your voice and be part of that. So please take that with you as you head into high school, okay? Okay. Kaden, why don't you actually talk about the silent disco? Like, what were your thoughts on that and the party at the end?
the silent disco at first was kind of weird because you used to have headphones on and it just played music through different stations. But then towards the end, it kind of got fun when all my friends were in there. Then they had the cannon with confetti, which was cool.
Excellent. That was one of my favorite parts too. So thank you. All right, Izzy, why don't you talk about your top 10 experience, and then Kesha talk about your Summit experience.
Okay, so when we first entered Summit, I was actually really nervous because I didn't know what we were gonna like, who I was gonna meet and how we were gonna be put into groups. And when we were put into groups, I really didn't think we even had like a chance to make it to finals. But I really learned to just stay confident and like not think about that. And my group, like Kaden said, I was the youngest and everyone else was like really smart. So, but like I like how my group really made sure everyone was included and participated and like at least added a part to it. And I was really surprised when we made it, when we were one of the finalists. And I was really nervous when we were up on the stage. But I'm glad I didn't have to like talk. So like, but we still were included a lot. But I think it was really fun. I really liked it.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed you and Jake's project too. I have the minute recording of it, and you'll be able to see that in the Europe slideshow that is being created.
Oh.
All right, go ahead, Kesha.
Okay, I think my initial reaction was that I was really nervous. It was this giant setup with so many new people from around the world. Most people were from America, but it was still, I had to talk and meet new people. But after the experience, I think I'm really happy that I got to experience it, because I don't think that's something I'll ever be able to go through again. So, yeah.
Yeah, okay, good. Xavier?
My experience with Summit was probably, I went into it thinking that I would never see these people again. Like, this was kind of a one and done thing. But after really spending the couple days with them, I got to know them a bit better, and I still talk to some of my group members. I talked to a couple more than others, but I still talk to them. I still communicate with them, and I just think that's a great environment to go in there and come out with a lot of new friends and close people that you're close with and can trust.
Good. Jack, I know you also said that you felt like you were one of the youngest in your group as well, and that for your voice. So I'm curious to hear what your summit experience was like from the beginning to the end.
It was like at the beginning, I was really nervous because I didn't say anything on the first day. I said like 10 words maybe, just like, my name's Jack. And then like I started to like get more comfortable with the people, and I started to share my ideas more. And it became more of like when we were doing like lunch and stuff, like I would be like, now I want to go back and like work on the project. Like I was like looking forward to that during the day.
Okay, good. And Sal?
So on the very first day, I can relate. I was like super awkward. I like barely talk to my team, and especially during that one time at dinner, it felt like I couldn't really talk to anybody. But on that second day, I really like started opening up, and a lot of people in my group could relate to me. And so I still talk to some of the people these days, and it feels like we are always just best friends. Like it feels like, even though it's only been 2 days, it feels like we have a really strong friendship. So yeah.
Good. Okay, great. All right, guys, we've made it to the last question. Okay, so this one is, I want you to choose one word that you would describe your Europe tour, and then also give advice for future travelers. Like, why do you think they should go on an EF tour or travel with Team Danbury Travel in the future? The 2026 summit was announced, and it is next year's last year. It's in Berlin for 25, and it's going to now start being in Costa Rica. So all the tours are going to be moving towards South America for the next 5 years, from 2026 to 2030. So very interesting to kind of see that they're leaving the Europe areas, but we still will be doing Europe tours with Team Danbury Travel. And our STEM tours. So you guys are still able to come all the way up till the year that you graduate in 2028. And some of you could even possibly come back and be an intern for us if you're applying to colleges, and that will look something really great on your college resume. So something to think about. Okay, so why don't you kind of tell us about one word that you describe your Europe tour, and then what advice would you give to future travelers? So go ahead, Jake.
I think one word to describe my trip is like amazing. Like it was an amazing trip, and the experience was just amazing.
What
And
advice would you give?
some advice that I would give to future travelers is that just to have confidence to do whatever comes across on the trip, and just be brave for whatever you have to do on the trip, and just be confident with everything, and to try new things like food or cultures or anything that comes your way on the trip.
Good. Okay. Kaden, why don't you tell us about your advice and your one word that described your European tour?
One word I would use to describe it was magnificent.
That's great.
Yep.
Do you want to talk about the advice you would give to future travel?
Yeah, I'm getting that. So the advice I would give is like make the most of it, because it's seems like a long time, but it goes by really fast, and it's such a great experience once in a lifetime, and you're probably never going back to some of these places. So just enjoy it.
Is that the advice you followed for yourself?
Yeah.
Good.
Oh,
Great. Thank you so much. Izzy?
A word that I would use to describe the trip is exciting, because I thought that the trip was really exciting. And some advice that I would give would be to, like, if you were to go on the trip, to, like, take in everything you see. Because, like Kaden said, you're probably not going to go to these places again. And it's really, like, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And I really wish I could get to go again, because I had a lot of fun meeting new people and hanging out with my friends in other countries. And I thought it was really great.
Oh, we hope to have you again sometime soon. Kesha?
Okay. I think I described it as exciting too, because every day we got to look forward to something new, and the schedule was jam packed, and we did so much stuff every day. I think advice I'd give is to have a good attitude every day. We had long mornings and late nights, but I think having a good attitude is good to be able to have the most fun you can on this trip.
Excellent. Xavier?
One word I would use to describe this trip would probably be life-changing, because it gave me a whole new perspective on the world and how I think of it, and really how I thought people would expect me to be, but they just saw me as another person. Some advice I would give would probably be to just, it sounds cliche, but like go with the flow. Like, you don't need a strict plan to make your day fun. You don't have to have a perfect idea of what you're going to do. Sometimes just going there and walking around and walking into whatever little shop you see first, or whatever attraction you want to do, whatever you think in the moment is probably the right choice.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that, Xavier. And Jack?
One word I would use is like surprising, because I like knew it was gonna be fun, but it was surprising how fun it was, and like how much free time we had and everything. And advice I would give is to like leave your comfort zone in some of the instances, like especially during the summit, but like even when you're just like walking around town, like make sure like you do what like other people want to do too, so everyone can enjoy it.
So great. And Sal, why don't you close?
All right, one word for that explained this trip would probably be spectacular. It was super fun. Some advice that I have though is to definitely get souvenirs. Like definitely get something that to remember your trip, and because you never know the next time you're gonna go to such an amazing trip. Like And also another piece of advice: don't do dumb stuff on the last day, like I did. That takes you to the hospital. So yeah.
And again, we can talk about that at another time for people who are interested for Sal's story there. Yes, so exciting. Okay, so I have just a couple participation things for you guys to do, right? So how many of you, show of hands, really miss Europe right now? Woo, excellent. All right, how many of you actually had a hard time adjusting coming back to the time zone? Did any of you have a little kind of like a lots of sleep here and there, like catching up and hanging out with friends? Yeah, okay. How many of you really enjoy the independence and the free time? Okay. And how many of you really enjoyed Summit and being there and meeting a whole bunch of new people and being in the projects and everything like that? Yes, good. Okay. So as you can tell, our travelers here had a really wonderful time and had a lot of reflection when it comes to education first. Team Danbury Travel is a unique company that myself has created to give these students in Danbury and the surrounding areas a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. So thank you guys so much for your time and your consideration and the experiences you had. What we had is always will hold a special memory, right? And we say that we can travel because we say that we can do that because it's better to say, I'm happy I did that than if only I had. So I really appreciate that. And right before we close out, we're going to take a giant group selfie on here, okay, as you know that. So everyone kind of smile and ready, 1, 2, and 3. Excellent. Okay, let me do this.